Welcome to NHL Quick Hits. David Crosby here with Steele Roden, and we've got a special Milestones episode for you today. We'll kick it off with Patrick Kane, whose goal in Tuesday's 6-3 loss to Florida moved him to 5th all-time for American-born players with 1,064 points. Steele, is Kane already the greatest American player ever?
It's close. It's definitely close. And I have him up there right beside Mike Modano just because of how great he was throughout his entire career. But I would give the edge to Patrick Kane just because he's only 32 years old. He just got his 1,064th point in his 1,003rd game. And he's going to pass Keith Tkachuk for fourth place eventually. He's only 1 point behind Tkachuk right now. But I would give the edge just because of how young he is still. He's only 32 years old. He's 300 points, to 250 to 300 points away from Mike Modano in that first sole possession of U.S.-born players for point leaders. So I would give the edge over to Patrick Kane just because of how dominant he was in those 3 Stanley Cup victories over the last decade, as well as just being one of the best players we've seen in this generation.
His prime has gone on for so long, and he is still such a great player. I would say he's firmly in the top 3 right now with Mike Modano, who you mentioned, and Phil Housley, who I think what he did as a defenseman is really unmatched among his compatriots. But I think Kane will likely retire as the greatest American. I hope that retirement doesn't come anytime soon because he's just so much fun to watch. Let's move over to the greatest goal scorer of this generation. Of course, that's Alex Ovechkin. He scored the last goal in Washington's 6-0 blowout of the struggling Sabres. That was his 11th of the season and 717th goal of his career, which moved him into a tie with Phil Esposito for 6th on the NHL career goals list. Where will Ovi rank on that list at the end of this season?
Well, clearly he's going to pass Esposito and have sole possession of that 6th place just because they're tied right now and there's still 30 games left in this season. So it's actually incredible and crazy to even think that he has 717 goals right now, but that's why he's probably the best goal scorer in the NHL that we've ever seen in our lifetime. But I think he passes Dion for sole possession of 5th place and then is just a little bit behind for that 4th place. I think he scores around 20 to 21 goals in the next 30 games. He only has 11 so far this season. It's been a little bit of a slow pace for him. Obviously, he missed a little bit of time because of COVID and just because of the regulations from last year. He's trying to get back on pace and get his goals. He hasn't had the amount of opportunities that we've seen him have in the past. But I think if he can get going, he has 4 goals in his last 5 games. If he keeps continuing on that streak tonight against the Islanders, I think he's going to keep going. And 20 goals in 30 games seems like a good crack at it.
It's going to be hard for Ovechkin to score the 25 goals needed to catch Brett Hull this season. I think that's definitely going to have to wait for next year. But I agree. I think he can score 14 or more to tie or pass Marcel Dion in that 5th spot. Ovechkin is also 1 point shy of becoming the 35th player to reach 1,300 career points, and he'll have a chance to hit that mark Tuesday night against the Islanders in a clash of the NHL's 2 hottest teams with the East Division on the line. These teams are riding a combined 14-game win streak, but it ends for one of them tonight. Which team keeps that streak alive?
I have to go with the Washington Capitals, and I think they win their 6th game in a row and end the Islanders' 9-game win streak tonight. And I say that because Anders Lee's not in the lineup; he's on the long-term injured reserve, which is unfortunate for the Islanders, but that's just the cards that they've been dealt. And I think that brings a big hit into their offensive abilities here. And secondly, I think because the fact that the Capitals have finally got Elias Samsonov back in the net. Obviously, they sent him back down to their AHL team to get him back in the conditioning stance and brought him back up to the taxi squad and finally got him some reps in the NHL. He's been incredible in his last 3 starts, I think, for the Washington Capitals. And I just think the Capitals have been a better team, even though the Islanders have been on a 9-game win streak. I think because the Islanders beat the Sabres 3 games in a row, the Devils 4 times in a row, the schedule's been a little bit easier for them. And I think the Capitals end that tonight.
I'm going to have to go on the other side. I think if any team can sort of weather that loss of a guy as important as Anders Lee, it would be the New York Islanders. They're just playing too well right now. I hate to go against the Capitals. I'm rooting for Ovi to hit both of those milestone marks again tonight, but I just think the Islanders can come through and win that game. But let's not forget about the men in the crease either. Let's move over to the North Division, where Carey Price continued his recent tear, helping the Canadiens snap a 2-game losing streak in a 4-2 win over the Jets. Since Montreal replaced former goalie coach Stéphane Waite with Sean Burke, Price has played 5 games with a pristine .948 save percentage and a 1.6 goals against average. Can Price get back to being one of the best goalies in the world, or is he already there, Steele?
He's not there right now, but I believe he can get back to being one of the greatest NHL goaltenders to play this game, as well, just currently in the league right now. But he's not there right now. And I love this quote from Jeff Merrick when he was on the Spit and Chicklets podcast the other day. And he said that Carey Price went from being an elite goaltender to a great goaltender to a good goaltender. And not a lot of people want to bring this conversation up because of the status that he's had in the past, as well as being able to play for the Montreal Canadiens for so long. Not a lot of people want to talk about the fall that he's had in the last 3 years. We don't want to have this conversation about it. But like you said, his last 5 games, he has a .948 save percentage. He's been playing really, really phenomenal. And if he can continue this through the rest of the regular season, into the playoffs as well, like what we saw last year in the playoffs against the Penguins, that was phenomenal. If he can continue that for the rest of the regular season into the playoffs, I think he can get back to that elite status and being one of the top goaltenders in the league right now.
I'm rooting for him. I think this league is much better when the Canadiens are really good. And if the Canadiens are going to get back to being what we thought they were at the start of the season, one of the elite teams in the league, they're going to need Carey Price to get them there. So don't be surprised to see Price back between the pipes for Montreal's Wednesday night rematch with the Jets. That's going to do it for our episode here today. I'm David Crosby. That's Steele Roden. And thanks for tuning in to NHL Quick Hits.